Yo, Guy, I hope you're well. So, guys, who remembers this about M&S? And I got the message from I think it's the CEO, Stuart, talking to us about the cybersecurity incident. Well, apparently it's got worse. And I think it's the agency staff in the East Midlands have been told to stay home while they are still sorting out this incident. What I'm trying to get to, and the point I'm trying to get to here, guys, is that with this incident at M&S, cybersecurity, data security, digitization, are we safer now with our data before online digitization, or were we safer before? So what I did, guys, is I actually went on to ChatGPT, first time ever, and I asked the question. So what was the question I asked? I asked, there have been a lot of cases of our banks and high street stores suffering from cybersecurity and data security breaches here in the UK. Are we safer now, or was our information and data, such as bank details, addresses, health, and social security information, safer before the move to digitization? So ChatGPT answered, great question and a really important one. In short, digitization has made our lives more convenient, but it has also come at an increased risk of our data being stolen or misused. And here's a balanced way to look at it. I'm so sorry, guys. I ate something beforehand and I've just been to the gym, and I really hate eating or drinking or doing anything before I come on camera because these things happen. And these things repeat on you. So apologies there. I am so sorry. I will not do that again. It's just because I went to the gym and I took some cereal and there's some cereal stuck in my throat. I'm so sorry. I apologize. Anyway, I'm just going to read you that bit again, and I promise you I won't do it again. So, in short, digitization has made our lives more convenient, but it has also increased the risk of our data being stolen or misused. And here's a balanced way to look at it. So before digitization, data was stored physically, risks were mainly physical, access was harder, and mass breaches were rare. However, it wasn't perfect because paper could easily be lost or damaged, blah, blah, blah. And public services and banks often had poor record keeping practices. But after digitization, data is now stored digitally, the access is easier, the risks have shifted, and mass breaches are possible. So one breach can expose millions of people's sensitive information instantly. But security technologies have also improved. So strong encryption, multi-factor authentication, MFA, better monitoring tools also exist. There's a regulatory framework around GDPR, which I was going to talk about, but I'm not going to now. But that just means it puts the onus and the impetus on whoever stores and houses that data to be the custodian of that data, to manage the data, and also to securely get rid of the data if it's not necessary, but only keep the data that's necessary, and to inform those people who data they have on what they have on them and how they're keeping their data and how much of that data they will wish to keep or not keep, as is in the case. So they'll always contact you to say, look, we've had your data for a year, we no longer need it, etc., etc. So we get rid of it, or do you want us to keep hold of your data? So bits and pieces like that. Anyway, let's go back into the conclusion now from ChatGPT. So basically, are we safer? So there are the pros and cons. So in some ways, yes, there are stronger security practices, better laws like GDPR, and the awareness is higher amongst the public and businesses. But in other ways, no. Attackers are much more sophisticated. Data is highly valuable and interconnected. And to be honest with you, back in the days, remember people saying things like gold, people saying things like oil was like liquid gold, this, that, and everything else. Data is the new oil, the new gold, the new everything that people want. They want access to our data. Once they have access to your data, basically they can have access to your life. So be careful what data you're giving and what information you're giving to people in your daily, whatever you're doing, because data is power, like knowledge is king. So the scale of breaches is far greater than before. So, in essence, your data is more protected in theory, but it's also more vulnerable to large scale attacks. And security is an ongoing race between defenders and attackers. So, ChatGPT is saying, in some ways, the scales not quite balanced, but it really depends on, yeah. So, prior to digitization, in my opinion, was my data safer? Probably. Post digitization, there's all sorts of things going on, people trying to access your information, phishing, this, that, and everything else. So just be careful and be aware of the implication of losing your data. So this thing with M&S, Marks and Spencer, so I had the communication from the CEO, I think it was Stuart, a week or so ago, just to say that they're doing everything in their power to make certain that we don't lose our data. But you hear these horrific stories about all sorts of data being lost with cyber attacks and other phishing attacks, etc., etc. Sensitive data, sensitive information, even your banking information, your bank details, your money could be taken and lost. So I'm just asking and putting that question out to you that, yeah, with all technology, technology is a great thing, but it's also open to be misused. So I'm just saying to everyone, just be careful about the information that you give out and try not to give out as much information as they're asking, only if it's really, really necessary. And yeah, just be on the lookout, be aware, and be careful. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm going to cough again. Oh, I'm so sorry. But guys, make certain you look after yourselves, you look after each other, and please don't eat anything before you come on camera because you end up looking like a mug, just like me. Anyway, guys, look after yourselves, look after each other, and please come back to the next Toilet TV.